NASDAQ was down about 50 points, which is 0.3% as we bring Doug Flynn in, certified financial planner, co-founder at Flynn Zito, and we're waiting for Nvidia, which we talked about yesterday's high-flying chip maker to report its results. Could come out any minute. I was thinking, remember I said to Geraldo he could talk about anything, and maybe I could have stumped him with Nvidia results. What do you think of Nvidia earnings? But he probably would have been like, no, I bought the stock a year ago, you know. But you, as you were saying yesterday, if you did buy the stock a year ago, you're in business, or even closer to now than that. But the question is, what do we look for when this report comes out in a few minutes? I guess we're looking for what they say about the future of AI and all that.
Yeah. I sort of overall, because the Fed has, we've pushed off rate cuts, we're really focusing in on two things. What are the earnings now? How do they come out for the previous quarter? And what is the guidance they're going to give for the upcoming quarter? One of the things you're going to look for in Nvidia is last quarter, they had 200% year-over-year growth. And the market is kind of expecting that to continue. And so that's one of the key points is, what is that number? Is it higher or lower than that? If the expectation is that high, then, if that comes through, then smooth sailing. If it doesn't, then that's where you get some jitters in the market. They're looking at other things too, like revenue numbers, but it's all about the now and what's the future guidance. That's what you're looking for right now.
If the report comes out, before we go off the air, we'll pass it along, but we're waiting for that from Nvidia. And the reason we talk so much about it, it's just been such a great stock. It's really been driving the entire market in many ways. While we wait, Doug, you and I like to talk about sports on TV. There's a couple of business-related stories today that I think are interesting. Number one, Fubo, which is a streaming service where a lot of people get their TV channels from. Fubo TV has this lawsuit it's filed over the combination of ESPN, Fox, Hulu, Warner Brothers Discovery's sports streaming venture that was announced, a few weeks back. A big deal. I guess their argument here is that this is, taking away the competition. Or what do you make of this lawsuit? That they're trying to stop this?
Yeah, like the pay TV, like cable and Fubo and the other similar companies that one might use to get their programming from, when the providers like ESPN and whatnot, they bundle packages together and force that. So when they force that onto these network carriers, then you have to charge a certain amount, and you can't unbundle it. And the big problem here, and I think the reason they're getting sued, is because they're doing what would be a skinny bundle, is what they call it, and perhaps they could undercut what they forced these other providers to charge. And so that's part of the lawsuit, I think, is you can't do that. Certainly the way they did it in secret, got together, announced this without telling anybody or telling the companies they already have deals with about what may happen. Maybe they're doing it what they intended to do, which is just to offer another way to get that programming. Right. But right now they're going to fight it out until that's all worked out, because it's all about money in the end.
It is all about money, and in TV and in streaming, it's all about sports. These days especially, it's really today it's probably a minor thing in the long run, but the headline catches your eye. Apple had this announcement, the new app that's going to be for free, and I guess they're going to have. I thought they already had all of this already, but this is a new one with more and more sports scores. And the whole idea, I was reading a little bit about it before the show, is they want to drive people to watch the sports on Apple TV, whether it's baseball or soccer, and because they're pretty big in that space as well now.
Yeah, they signed that 10-year MLS deal, and so they want to drive people to now watch it after spending all that money. And it makes sense. I mean, we have all these sophisticated programs, but I have the Stocks app on my iPhone.
Right. So I'll jump on you, Doug. There's the president. He just popped up here talking about student loan debt, canceling student loan debt. So this is Doug Flynn. Let's listen to President Biden. Our President Biden in Culver City, California. Doug Flynn's listening in on this. So we were talking, Doug, about the markets and everything else. But I want to get your take on. So the announcement the president's in the middle of making here is that he's canceling another $1.2 billion in student debt, student loans for 150,000 borrowers. So I think if I have the numbers right, the total is about 138 billion forgiven for almost 4 million borrowers. So I would assume politically this is aimed at young voters. The president's been struggling with young voters in the polls. You're the financial guy, though. Does it make financial sense to you? What do you think of it?
I think the total amount on this is not that much in terms of the total amount that they've forgiven. And what I do like about it is they've specifically targeted people that have been in that program. They've been making payments. They're in the repayment mode for 10 years. And the maximum amount, I think, is either $12,000 or $14,000, from what I understand, that they're going to be covering. So I think it helps a lot of people at a lower amount. That isn't that costly. Obviously, it's politics in a re-election year. Get as many people as you can to get some relief. I've had clients get relief from student loan debt, some of which themselves have said they didn't deserve the student loan relief they got. So some of these probably are people that actually could really benefit the most. So you know, probably not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things to affect a lot of people, which is a good thing.
Right, to your point, you hope it goes to the people who could really use the help the most. Doug, thank you as always on all of that. Doug Flynn, President, wrapping up his remarks there in California.